Hey everyone, Kim here, Abundant Life Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me. We are doing my top 10 oracle decks that I was using and loving and really appreciating in 2025. And quite a few of these decks are ones that I use from my own personal reading practice. And I'll describe a bit more about how I utilize them and in what ways as I share with you. Of course, there's going to be a couple of honorable mentions. You know I like to cheat a little with it. But for the most part, these are decks that I used either in readings for myself or on my altar spaces or in my professional reading settings. And I can't wait to share them with you. And I'm also very much looking forward to hearing about what decks you are loving on, the oracle decks that you grabbed consistently throughout the year, or ones maybe you just added to your collection and you just can't put down. I want to hear from you and put those in the comment section, okay? Because I'm going to be checking for them. I'm going to be checking for your comments. All right, so we've got a lot to get into. I'm actually on this one, unlike my tarot top 10 video, I'm going to switch camera angles and then go through the cards. I just feel like I need to change it up a bit for this one. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so let's get into the honorable mentions first. Now, the reason why these decks are honorable mentions is because I got them this year, and they will be discussed probably in more detail during my haul video, my 2025 Oracle deck haul video. I have like, I think 21, 22 decks that I purchased this year, Oracle alone. So yeah, but I have to discuss them. Why? Because I end up using these decks quite a bit this year, and I'm happy I purchased them. Let me tell you about them. The first one I want to talk about is the Practical Self-Care Oracle. Okay, I ordered this one from Etsy, and the deck creator is Maruka X. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the creator's name, but I've ordered in the past a couple of decks and were gifted some of her decks as well, and I love them all. So I knew I would love the Practical Self-Care. Here's the backs, tarot size, traditional. And let's just look at a few of these cards. So give less fucks. The less you give a fuck, the happier you will be. Amen to that. Practice gratitude. Shadow work. Start a new hobby. Home needs TLC. Has chakra cards here. Crown chakra is out of balance. Heart chakra. Own your power. Self-exploration. Plan your career. Let's see. Love your single life. And even if you're in a relationship, you could still admire or appreciate the certain aspects of your single life and bring that forth into your day-to-day life in the present. You know, not being so dependent on your partner, tapping into what makes you happy again. You see? So I really like this card. Take a vacation. Drop the excuses. Make a vision board. So there's, you know, health conscious things like cook more. See that? Avoid toxic people. Wake up early. So what I really like about this particular deck is I use it for readings for myself, and especially readings for clients. I might pull one or two cards for a client if they just want, like, you know, a general pick-me-up message or something they need to focus on in their everyday life. I do offer like well-being and self-care type of readings for my private clients, as well as I use this deck a lot for my members in my Poised to Leap membership. When I do our weekend wake-up call readings, I would, sometimes call upon this deck. So I end up using this deck a lot, and I knew I would. And so that's why it had to be mentioned. But of course, it's not a deck that I had in my collection for years, like some of the other decks I'm going to talk about today. But it was something that's worth mentioning, and I have a feeling that next year this will be definitely in my top 10. The other deck I ordered on Amazon this year, Life Happens Oracle. It's one of those little decks, the little, mass produced out of China decks, but it ended up surprising me. Look at the card backs. Aren't they just gorgeous? And this deck right here, I end up using a lot for client readings for myself, Poised to Leap readings, or when we're doing collaborative readings together on Zoom. I pulled this deck out as like a clarifier. It really surprised me, and it works really well in love readings, life purpose reading, career readings, general life readings. I love this one, Desperate. I was just really surprised that I would connect with it so well, so like instantly. And I keep it as one of my working oracle decks. Actually, both of these are in my little small 16 count. I think it's 16, it might be 19 decks that it holds. I have this little holder that, over in the corner here for my working deck, so I can keep my reading table clear. And it's the decks I grab instantly. And sometimes I rotate in new decks, but most of the time I have my go-to standard decks. And this is one of them that was in there. And I do use it a lot, friends. I love that. The symbolism is just so interesting, thought-provoking. And yeah, it's a good all-rounder, kind of deck. We have freedom, unexpected blessing. So it's just a sweet deck. And I'm happy I added it to the collection. I really am. Envy. Love. Love the symbolism of the two, one starting at the top of the staircase, the other person at the bottom. They're going to have to, in order to make love happen, they need to meet each other in the middle. You don't want someone having to do the heavy climb up or descend all the way down. I suppose you could do that, but is it balanced? Overthinking. So yeah, so more about these, or maybe I'll talk less about these since I talked about them in this video. But I will be speaking on them because they were a part of the haul of 2025 Oracle decks for myself. So yeah, now we can officially get into my top 10. Let's go. Right, so number 10, we have here the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle. If you all have watched my channel over the years, you know that I love this deck. Like, absolutely, positively connect with it. And it took me by surprise that I connected with it so deeply. I do have the Bloody Hell edition. I do have that edition. Sometimes I use that one, but most of the time I use this deck. I do typically use it for my Mystery Mystic or Maritime Mystery readings, but in my Etsy shop, I do have a listing for a reading offering for clients to book a Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle reading, where I use this deck primarily in the spread, and it just really reads well. Like, you can take it in so many different directions, and it's either a person's taste or not. Like, some people are just not going to be called to it, and I get that. But for me, it instant love since I got it several years ago. Gosh, I don't know. I don't even know what year, but it was a long time ago I got this deck. What I will try to do, if I remember, is put in the timestamps or on the screen, I don't know which will be easier for me, the year I got the deck. Because it'll be interesting to see, like, how long have I been connecting with it. And that'll tell you a lot about why I am in love with it. Some people have decks for years that they never touch, never use. And then one day they pull it off their shelf and they're like, oh my God, where have you been all my life? And then other people get a deck and they use it nonstop. You just never know how it's going to be. And for me, I just give myself grace to connect with the deck when I'm called to connect with it. I don't rush the process, you know, or feel guilty if I'm not using the deck right away. Your practice, everything about your readings probably evolve over time. I can think about decks that I used to use when I first started doing readings, and I use those all the time, and now they just sit on the shelf, and then I think maybe I should get back to them, you know? And so, yeah, I love this deck so much. And I have the guides here. Where is it? I have it in paper form, and I also have it in a PDF. What I did was I copied it in color, like it comes like on this like paper bag, parchment kind of paper, the guide with the decks, and then I just copied it and yeah, unfolded it, copied it. But I also have it saved on PDF on my computer, so it's a little more easier for me to work with as well. And then I can, if I take my deck with me, I don't need to take this thing. I can just send the PDF on my phone or on my computer, you know, on email or what have you. Yeah, so that's number 10. Although really, if I'm truthful with myself, it probably should be number 1 because I love this deck so much. So, number 10, Mildred Payne's Secret Pocket Oracle. So deck number 9 is another one that I've had for many years. It's the Power of Surrender. Okay. It's a Hay House deck, and this is probably my 2nd or 3rd copy. And I love it. And just like my top 10 tarot decks and how I comprise the decks of like why they made the list, it's because I track all the decks that I use month over month. And then I go through and analyze to see which decks pop up the most. And then, of course, this one does. Because I may pull this out for clients on the hotlines, especially my private clients. I do what's called a closing oracle message. And I pull 3 cards to wrap up the reading. And it never ever ceases to amaze me how this deck will sum up the readings perfectly, or it would take us by surprise and give us some homework for the client or myself to work on. And I do use it for readings for myself when I have time to do readings for myself. Truth be told, because I do readings professionally for people, there's not a lot of time for me to do these big spreads for myself, or even small spreads for that matter. I usually do just like, okay, I need a quick reading for myself, so let me get a deck or two and play around with it. Or I have a quick question and I pull 1 or 2 cards. That's just the way it is right now for me, and that's okay. Surrender to the wisdom of your body. I love the little messages here. Surrender the drama. It tells the truth, but in a compassionate way, and it brings it back to self on how you can surrender the drama. Like it says here, no matter how emotionally charged the situation, remain calm and don't contribute to the drama. Staying centered will help you resolve the issue more quickly. It's such a great deck. Like, when people ask me what oracle deck should I get for so-and-so or for myself starting out, and I usually recommend this one. You know, some people aren't a fan of the little messages. You don't have to read the messages. I think they're helpful, but you don't have to read them, right? And it's always spot on. I use it for client readings, like I mentioned, readings for myself and for my membership readings. Surrender defensiveness. That's a good one. Surrender to wonder and awe of life. Surrender to non-action, an important one, right? Get out in nature. Surrender low self-esteem, that's a good one. Surrender your ego. So it could be great for general messages or clarification, or, you know, you can use it on its own or you can use it in a larger spread. It really is a great deck. And honestly, it too, just like the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle, should be probably like #1 or #2 because I use it a lot. Hence why this is like the third copy I think I've purchased. Surrender Resentments over the years. So yeah, that is one of my faves. Power of Surrender. So this is deck number 8. And it is the Broken Mirrors Oracle cards. And it says here, Twin Flame, Soulmate, and Karmic Readings. Now, so you get a gist of what direction this deck is going in. I use this a lot in client readings, okay? And it's already, I think I had this for a little over a year. It was gifted to me. And you can tell one of the telltale signs of my usage on a deck, my use and abuse of it, is you can see the crease here. Because I, you know, riffle shuffle, right? So you just, and then you riffle shuffle it, and so it's got that bend. But you know what? That's okay. Decks are meant to be used. But the Broken Mirror Oracle, and I use it for love readings, private client readings, and especially on the hotlines. It's one of my working love oracle decks, and I do plan to do a revised video on my love troubleshooting oracle decks that I love to use for clients. I did one several years ago, and it's definitely time to be updated. I don't even have those decks anymore. Some of them. Actually, quite a few of them I don't have anymore. So it's time to do an updated video. Stay tuned for that. Deuces. I love that it has the 3 little keywords or key phrases. It says fed up, cutting ties, walking away, hurting, crying, depressed, pain, and sorrow, reconciliation, harmony, resolving issues, getting back together. Envy, push-pull, power struggles, imbalance, and stubborn. Toxic love, drama, addictions, love-hate relationship. And how I use these is I will look at the keyword first, look at the images, see what my intuition's saying, and then sometimes I ignore what's going on up here and I look at the keywords down here to see what applies. This one is so funny to me though. Secrecy, third party, or hooking up STD. Yikes. But it is what it is. You know, be careful out there, y'all. Stubborn, bossy, selfish, inflexible. Stubborn as a mule, right? Sick and tired. Cycles over a decision made. So you some or all of the keywords apply. Maybe only one applies. Make it rain. No contact, blocked, silent treatment, cut off all communication. Okay. Avoidance, in hiding, feeling guilty, no communication. This is a sweet one, I guess. It says crying, nostalgia, missing you. So if you're like, oh, is so-and-so thinking about me? Or, you know, do I ever cross their mind? And then this card comes up. It's like a bit of reassurance for them, right? So yeah, that is the Broken Mirror Oracle cards. I won't go all into this one because it'll be in that one video sometime in the future where I say, okay, these are the decks I use for my troubleshooting of love issues video. So stay tuned for that. All right, let's move on. Okay, so next one we're going to do is number 7. And that is the Spirit Animal Wisdom deck. Okay. Now, I'm not usually a huge fan of all animal decks. That's just not my preference. But this one works for me. And there's a few reasons why. One of the reasons is the guidebook. It's just so dang pretty. Look at the card backs. Pretty. And it's 50 cards. And let's go through some of these. So it has the elements here. And it's spider, elemental, which is air, right? Dreamweaver, and then it has a key phrase. So it says, tune into the energetic grids around you. Where can you send your energy for healing? It's such a beautiful deck, calming. It's wonderful to use if you're the person who does readings for the collective on your social media platforms, or you're doing, free or donation based readings. This is a great one to have in your repertoire because it covers a lot of different things and speaks right to the heart of the situation. Monkey has 2 elements, air and looks like earth. Don't take life too seriously. Inner child is the main keyword. So many of them will have multiple elements here, which is fine. And I'll show you what that means in a moment. But let's look at spider, for example. The one drawback, I think, well, I guess it's not really a drawback. No, it's not. But I wish the card, yeah, actually it is a drawback. I wish the cards were numbered because then it would make it easier when you come here, but that's okay. Well, let's see. We're going to look at spider, page 25. 25, so element is air, so it's got the element, the meaning here that's on the card, and then it goes into great detail about the spider card. And then there's more. Crystal companions, spiderweb jasper, selenite, and moldavite. So it has companion crystals that you can work with the card's energy. And I love that. So that's why I love this deck. Let's look at some more of the cards here. But I just love it. And it's one of the few animal insect decks that I like. I'll be, frank here. I don't regret this purchase. I've had it for years, this deck, and I've used it in primarily readings for others, and it surprises me every time. And I love the messages, and I love how it wraps up readings when I use it in that way as well. To Heidi, I like to give different courses. What I mean by that, how like when you go to a fine dining establishment and you have the multiple courses, first course, and then there's the dessert. I like to have this as the dessert course. Ties up the meal beautifully. The reading beautifully, right? Sea turtle, conservation, make conscious choices. Llama, soul growth. Growth is never easy. Have faith and trust in the journey. I mean, it's really a gorgeous deck. I don't know if it's still in print or not, but I purchased it several years ago on Amazon, so I hope it is still in print for those who wish to purchase it. But I did use it a lot this year, especially the first half of the year. Divine timing. Good things come to those who wait. This is the tiger card. I love the art. Elephant, one of my favorite animals. Grounding, ground your energies and emotions deep into the earth. And here's the thing. It's not that I don't like animals. I do like animals. I'm scared of some of them, right? But I like them. I just like a balanced deck. So this is why me getting an all animal deck is unusual, because I like, humans and animals and a mixture. I don't want them solely, just animals. Ladybird. Luck. Rabbit. Sensitive soul, strengthen your boundaries and cut cords. Practical advice too, and that's why I like it. It's not just, okay, here's the rabbit archetype, and then there's nothing else, and you're just kind of like, okay, now I got to go look at a book and see what that means. What's great about this animal deck, and what I like it above others, is that it does have the element. Okay, great. It has listen up, a strong key word. We got bat, air, listen up, and then a key message here. If I want to go to the guidebook, I can for a deeper message, or the crystal companions. It would have been nice if they put the crystal companions in here. There's certainly enough space. Could have, did that, but that's okay. And that's why I have a challenge with animal decks, is because they often just give you, the animal, and that's it. And maybe the name of the animal or a key word, but it's like, I need more. And not everyone needs that, but I do, because I don't usually work with animal archetypes. So this is probably why I really like this particular one for animals. All right. Dolphin. So yeah, friends, that's one that I was definitely loving on this year in 2025. So deck number 6. And that is the Secrets Revealed True Crime Oracle, the deck that I made for my mysterious type of readings. Okay, and it started out as 160 cards, and then I expanded it to 180, and I just create what I call expansion packs to add to it. Eventually it's probably going to get to 220, because I'm thinking of different cards to create and add, and what it's designed to, if you wanted to, you could split it up and make standalone decks and not use them all at once. But I used it all at once. And yeah, I know people will be like, well, this is your deck. I never said I was going to only discuss decks created by others. I do use this deck a lot, and I love to use it with my This Time Oracle, my timing deck, to give us some timing elements, right? But I use this deck all the time. I just don't want to talk necessarily about it, but I use this deck daily for client readings primarily. But I love to use this in conjunction. Once I made this deck, I didn't always feel the need to use my other true crime oracles, although I do use them, and I have a video. I'll try to remember to link that video in this description box for this one, where I share like my top 10 oracle decks that I use for true crime type of readings or missing persons readings. But once I made this one, it was like, this encompassed a lot of what I needed. And it was my own, like what helps me with keywords or what helps me with images. And that's why I made it. And then people were asking me, can you make it available for purchase? Because they wanted to use it themselves. And I said, sure, why not? So it's on makeplayingcards.com. So people can use it if they wish, or purchase it and use it. That's up to them. But yeah, I'm going to be having an expansion. I think I'm going to create a paranormal expansion one, like a conspiracy theory expansion one. But yeah, here's one of the expansions, because I can tell by when I added my business name here, Abundant Life Tarot. It says expansion pack number 1, motive, control, or domination. Robbery or burglary gone wrong. Liar, lies, lying in wait. Accessory after the fact. Yes. Agreed. Timeline issues. pay close attention to the timeline. The timeline will unlock what happened, or there's some clues in the timeline. Missing. Mental health. Quite a few cards like that in here because oftentimes mental health is at play. Circumstantial evidence. Father. Choke. Rumors and tabloids. Oh yeah. So I do have full flip throughs. I think I even have the expansion pack one as a flip through. So I'll link that in the description box if you want to check it out in more detail. But I love it. I love working with it because it is something that really speaks to what I need to get answered. Alibi. Disguise or change of appearance. Yes. So yeah, I use it a lot. I'm going to probably use it today. I'm going to be working on not an old case, but it's about a year and a half, almost 2 years old case. And so I'm going to be definitely using this deck, the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle, and a few others to create my opening oracle reading. That's what I love to use it for. And it works great for when you do a tarot reading and you want to have oracle like clarify or accompany the tarot cards, you can use this one as well. But yes, it is specific to certain types of readings for sure. It's not for everybody. I get it. But for the types of readings I choose to do, it works superbly. All right, friends, let's move on to the next one. All right, we are at number 5, and we are talking about the Awakened Soul Oracle deck. This is the first edition by Anthony, and I've had it a long time. I think it says here 2016 is when she created this edition, and I don't know if I had it that long, but this is the first edition, and I love it. And I primarily use this deck for myself, okay? I don't usually use this deck for client readings, although you certainly can. You really can. The gilding is pristine still. I'm impressed by myself. Here's the card backs. And you can use it in reverse. You can use them reversible. Once we round out the cards and then I show you this deck, I will include a picture before we move on to deck number 4 to show you what I do with it and what I've recently been doing with it. So I like to have certain cards on my reading table. So some people would call these altar type decks for themselves. I don't use this on an altar per se. I guess you could say my reading table is like my altar, all right? But it's just nice reminders. I'll pull like 3 cards and keep them on my reading table for a week or 2, and I just look at the cards. I remember certain things about the readings. It reminds me certain messages for the day, and it's just nice to have them. They're like little friends, if you will. So I have a few cards that I use, or a few decks, and the next few decks I'm going to be discussing with you in my top 10 oracle decks will be those types of decks, okay? So let's get into some of these images here. Oh, and it's got a great guidebook, and thank you, Anthony, for signing my copy. I had met her at the Northwest Tarot Symposium many years ago, and she signed my guidebook. And it's a really great guidebook. Oh my goodness, it's got a ton of spreads and ways to work with the deck. The cards are clearly outlined in the table of contents, cleansing the deck, and there's an Awakened Soul challenge in the guidebook, a 13-day challenge. And the guidebook has got symbolism, the keywords, the Awakened Soul story, the awakened meaning, the shadow meaning, so the reverse meaning, the affirmations, the personal reflections. So that's what the guidebook comes with. I mean, she did an excellent job on this deck, and it has her personal touches all throughout. So, and it's still available for sale. I don't know what edition it's on now, but still available. I saw on her website. Compassion. Guidance. Look how much the person is using cards for guidance. Healing. Mantra. Release. Vision. Third eye. Surrender. Ah, definitely surrender in that situation. A little boat next to these gigantic whales. Eek. Sovereignty. Treasure. Rescue. Labyrinth. I love this card. I love the labyrinth symbolism in a deck. Just something I prefer to see. I don't know why. Certain themes, you know, grab you, and a labyrinth theme would grab me. Desire. Perspective. Solitude. Yeah. Let's see what we got. Gratitude. Devotion. Challenge. Family. And I'm pretty sure I did a full flip through of this deck. Oh, it's beautiful. So I'll link it in the description box. I like fun. So you can check it out. But yeah, I usually I like that one as well. I usually like to use it for my personal readings. It's the rare times that I do pull cards for myself. Am I doing a full-on reading? No. What I do is I'll pull the 1 to 3 cards. I look at the guidebook. I sometimes journal, you know, what's coming up for me. I'll sit with the cards. I keep them on there. I look at them. They help me, like if I had a more challenging reading for a client, it helps to kind of bring me back to center, bring me back to self, to have these cards on my reading table just for me. And then sometimes the messages aren't just for me. When I'll do a reading, and let's say I'm on the line with a client, like a live call, and, you know, all of a sudden my eyes go to the photo, you know, the card on the table, the keyword or image in that helps me in the reading, if that makes any sense. Let me know if you are confused by what I mean by that. But basically, let's say they're asking a question about their work life, and then my eyes gravitate towards the truth card or authenticity card, and you're like, oh, okay, just show up as your true self. You've been, you know, really hiding behind a mask, and it's starting to cause you to have a lot of anxiety, and it's time to just be your true self. You've been working there a while. It's okay to reveal a little bit more of who you are, you know. So that's an example. So yeah, the Awakened Soul Oracle is my number 5. Let's keep going. We're almost there, friends. Halfway there. So number 4 is the Sacred Symbols for Divination and Meditation Oracle deck. This is the 3rd edition. I like when creators, for the indie decks at least, I guess you could do it for mass market, but for the indie decks, to indicate what edition, because it is helpful for the collectors, right? Or those who have to sell their decks or purchase decks, you know, on the third party markets, if you will. So again, this is one of those decks that, yes, you could use for client readings, but I primarily use the readings for myself, and I use them over here. I'll take a picture like I did with deck number 5, or actually I won't because I don't have these cards up, but it's a similar thing. I pull 3 cards typically, and I sit with those cards for a couple of 1 to 2 weeks, and they are my personal messages, whether for myself or for a client, as it may be. It has this little guidebook. It's got gratitude and the symbol description, which I like. I love when the creator goes into what the symbol is speaking to with the greater message. So for example, devotional candle speaking to the keyword gratitude. So yeah, let me see. Cards got some spreads. And I think this deck is now mass market, if I'm not mistaken. So you can get it, I'm pretty sure, with the mass market publishers, but this is the indie edition. I love the purple against the red. Relief. You certainly could use this for a clarifying oracle deck or a standalone, oracle reading. That's meditate. Or if you use it like I do, which is like altar cards, altar messages, fire, the element of fire, courage. Some people may not like the, simplistic symbolism or art style or even the colors. I'm here for all of it. I'm here for the whole aesthetic of this oracle. And I think I like the indie edition because I like the card stock versus my memory, if it serves me correctly, the mass market edition is by a publisher that tends to use thick cardstock that's just not very yielding on the wrist for me, and I have to be careful. I have little wrists. I might have average to almost large women's hands, but I have tiny wrists, and it can hurt my wrists if I have very difficult to shuffle decks. Nature spirits. So if you have a modern aesthetic in your deck collection, this could work really well with your other your other decks. It can complement tarot readings as well. Here's another element. And I love this release, like cut away something, right? There's water. Boundaries, always good to have a good boundaries card in your deck. Healer, yes. Eye of Horus. Protection. Beautiful. Message. And death. And it's numbered here, right? So say 36. Oh, I turn right to it. I love when that happens. Symbol, skull, and rose. The skull and rose as a symbol that all is sacred in life and death. And then the message here is like the noticeable end of a cycle or situation, grieving or mourning a loss in order to heal. It is time to watch the old way leave itself in the past. Allow feelings of grief and sadness to move through you with ease. Meditate on this when you want to honor an ending, loss, or letting go in your life with grace. Without death, there is no life, and vice versa. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Lucky. I love the colors. So vibrant. Divine Feminine. I think there's a Divine Masculine card. Affluence. Knowledge. So simple symbolism, but just totally works, right? We have Stormy. It gets the message across. And sometimes simplistic art is easier on the eyes. It's easier to just be able to distill the message, right? To not get all like thrown off by all these different symbolisms, all these different things going on in the artwork. So there's something to be said about simplicity, I would say. Shift. Okay. So yeah, that's deck number, oh, there's the Divine Masculine. There you go. Sacred Symbols for Divination and Meditation Oracle deck. Number 4. Okay, deck number 3. And I'm going to show you the mass market, the one I've been using primarily this year, and the indie. So this is the Sacred Creators Oracle. Okay, so in this one, it's got 67 cards. So the mass market has 67, but in the indie version that I've had for many years, probably since it came out, does it say on here? Chrysan? I don't know if it says it, but this one has 63. But, oh my goodness, it's just glorious. Even though I primarily use this one on my day-to-day, and I use it for altar cards, every now and then I will use the Sacred Creators Oracle for like life purpose, creativity readings for myself and for others, or business readings too, like spiritual business type readings. It works really well for those. You can use this deck for love readings, really. You could. I just gravitate towards using it for those purposes. And so here is the indie. I cannot tear away from this deck, although it makes sense for me to probably pass it on to someone, since I mainly use this one. I can't. I won't. So I got them all reversed. But we'll just go through these. But just so you know, I do love the card stock for the Sacred Creators, the mass market. I really do. It's easy to shuffle. It's tarot size. It's easier to shuffle than, say, the indie version, which is a thicker cardstock. It's got the matte gold gilding, which is beautiful touches, right? It's not bad. It's just that, yeah, I also don't want to abuse the deck. You can riffle shuffle the mass market with ease. So it's got a little symbol there, and it's got the key word, but where her deck shines here, where Chrysan's deck shines, is the guidebook. Look at that. The edge of evolution feels messy. Some people need more. They need full-on art, and some of us just need a great phrase, beautiful colors. Yeah, I actually prefer that it has the colors and the simple symbolism and the key messages here. Nourish the sacred feminine. Stop, drop, and ground. Magic happens when you most expect it, of course. Befriend the word polarize. Yes, yes, yes. You are living poetry. And the bonus cards that are not in the indie version is these creator cards. They're elemental. So we have air, and there's a creator card for fire and earth and water. So those are the bonus cards. Those are the 4 bonus cards. So with the guidebook, I don't think you're missing out on a lot if you didn't have the indie version, although there's, it's just, look at that. Chrysan is known for wonderful guidebooks, in my humble opinion. And here, you're not going to get all like the little art and all the extras, but you get the key stuff here. You've got the card number, you've got the meaning or raw intention, essential meanings, self-care message, which may be the reverse meanings or shadow message, right? Or, it says it, self-care message. And then it comes with some work here to do. So you've got the meanings here, and then I say some work to do. I don't know what else to call it, but maybe questions to work with as journal prompts. But yeah, I've been using this deck a lot this year. as it sits on my altar or reading table space. And what I do sometimes when I'm using this mass market for myself and I want to use the deck for a client reading, I will use the indie version or vice versa. So that way I do have a second copy. So it's not like they totally sit, one totally sits, but to be fair and to be frank, I prefer to use my mass market because A, I like the way it shuffles, the way it feels in hand. B, I don't want to abuse my indie edition because it's gorgeous. It's still in good condition. And you're not missing much when you're using, both. So, yeah. So there you have it. That is my number 3 top Oracle deck for 2025. Number two. So that is the Vision of the Muse Oracle. Wow. So another one that is a deck that I use primarily for readings for myself, if not entirely. I'd probably say entirely. And I love it. I've had this one also for many years. This one is near and dear to me because I purchased it at this cute little metaphysical shop that's closed down in Oakland, California. And I remember walking into the shop and was wondering, did they have any indie decks? Because you know how like you go to metaphysical stores and oftentimes they only have the mass market decks, which is fine. But it was nice to see, oh, this store carries indie decks, and this was one of them, and it happened to be a deck that I had wanted. So it was like really cool. I got to purchase it along with, I think I bought some kind of special little sage spray or something like that, cleansing spray. And I just fell in love with it. And here we are. I don't talk a lot about it because I use it for readings for myself and my altar cards, if you will. Here's the backs. Look at that. I love the inside of the box. Little David Bowie, look at that. So pretty. So pretty. Right now, the cards are on my reading table. And yeah, I've been using it. And you can tell I've been using it. The gilding is worn. It was matte gold. Here's the card backs. And yeah, here we go. I'll take a picture of the cards, how they are now on my table so you can see them. And they're just right there. I wish I could show you, but they're, if you look, follow my finger, they're here in this, over here. Lighten. And yeah, you certainly could use it for readings for others, readings for yourself. I have the little guidebook I'll show you all in a moment. But for me, it works well just for messages for myself, reminders of what I need to do. We have release, emerge. I love the colors. I love this collage style. I love that it's kind of, cosmic energy here. Really speaks to my Aquarian soul self. Infinite. Yeah, love the whole vibe of the deck. Visualize. And it's just so dang pretty. It's so pretty and it looks great on my reading table. No matter what reading cloth I have. I gotta actually get ready to change out my reading cloth. And y'all know that's an ordeal. Because I got to remove all of my crystals and dust everything, cleanse everything, and it's a process. But then I'm always glad once I finish, So, pause. Some people keep it very simple, and I keep it very, ornate and maximalist over here. Embrace. I embrace the maximalism on my reading table. Love, meditation, and truth. It's beautiful. And abundance. So I apologize for the background noise. This is what it is. I'm recording this during the daytime. So, yeah. All right, so let me show you the guidebook. So we have Vision of the Muse, got an introduction, guidelines for Vision of the Muse. You know, most guidebooks are going to come with how do you cleanse and consecrate the deck. This also has a centering, shielding, and grounding message. And the colors are mentioned here. Blue, protection, peace, healing, calm, and truth. Green, healing, love, compassion, and abundance. So it's got like a little key for colors. Reverse cards, reverse meanings here. Jumping cards. Y'all know I exclusively work with jumpers. And yeah, note on card spreads. What is her note on card spreads? You can choose a 1-card spread where you pull only 1 card. So she doesn't, I don't think she has any spreads. She just gives suggestions like the Celtic Cross. There are chakra spreads, etc. I don't necessarily need spreads. If I make spreads, it's more questions based and it doesn't necessarily need to be in a particular design. You know what I mean? So, and then you have here the keyword, little black and white image, the meaning, and additional meanings. Abundance has additional meanings of prosperity, windfall, receiving a raise, overflow of good, enjoyment, pleasure, fertility, fruitfulness, and fulfillment. So yeah, sweet little guidebook and sweet little deck. And I happily have it in my collection. It's one that speaks to me. I keep doing that. Speaks to me. Like, look at this rest card. I know when this card comes up, I am not getting enough rest. And it's not just about the number of hours of sleep. It's about actually resting. You know what I mean? Like resting your soul, slowing down, watching a movie, reading a book, sipping on tea and not feeling like you're just gulping it down, but you're savoring it. Rest the mind. Harvest. It's such a great little deck. So I think I have a full flip through where I go through all the cards and you can check that out. Like I do, I like to put in the description box the link of the video. And that's my number 2. Much of like the decks I've been showing you over the last few ones are ones that are decks that I use primarily for myself, which, you know, a lot of times people, well, they know that I read for others and I read professionally. And so, of course, I'm going to be showing you decks that work well in my professional reading practice. But I think it's important for me to share with you the decks that I use in my private practice, the practice for myself. All right. I think that was important. And that goes with the Year of the Hermit. Collectively, we had the tarot card of the year as the Hermit. And also I had the Hanged Man for my personal card of the year. And so it made a lot of sense that there was more introspection going on for some of us. There was more reflection, more solitude than usual. You know, a need to go within to spiritually connect and reconnect again. And for me, it's using the cards to do that. It's not for everyone, obviously, but for me, that's what I do to reconnect with my spiritual nature. And this is one of those decks that just helps to remind me to take care of me. All right, we're down to number 1. I hope you're hanging in there with me. All right. Friends, we made it to number 1. Can you guess what it is? Can you? Normally, I've had number 1 be the Power of Surrender deck year over year, but we got a new number 1, folks. And that is the Tea Leaf Fortune cards. Is that a surprise? It's a surprise for me. I'm going to be honest with you. It's a U.S. Game Systems deck. And I have resisted it for years. I knew of this deck for many years. But I just was like, I'm not really a fan of round decks. And look, I keep this bad boy over here. You can't see it. I'm pulling it from here. It's the only deck that I keep on my reading table. All the rest have now moved, and I'll include a picture just like I did in the tarot top 10 video of where I store my Oracle and Tarot decks, my working decks. But this is the only one I keep because I can use it in all types of readings, all types. What made me get it initially, after seeing it for years for people, it's a 200 card round card deck, by the way, was I was going to start doing pick a card readings for the channel. And then I did a couple and I was like, I don't really feel like staying up with that. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to be able to do that on a consistent basis. Maybe I'll do it like for special occasions, like pick a card New Year's readings, or pick a card self-card messages, things of that nature. But I'm not going to make that a channel mainstay. You know what I'm saying? Here's opportunity or windfall carrot. But then I start using it for client readings on like hotlines, my private client readings who come through my website, or through Etsy. Readings for myself, reconciliation. It's pineapple, but the keyword says reconciliation. And it just reads so well. It really does. It has a book. I'll show you the box and everything in a moment. But you don't need it. Tankard, celebration, fun, enjoyment. And, oops. I love it. And it's, oh my goodness. It surprised me. I'm not a huge fan of round decks. I'll just be frank. I'm not. I did you'll see in my 2025 Oracle deck haul. I haven't decided if I'm going to make that a video or do a live. I think I might do a live. I did get another round deck, but it's not my preference. And it's just kind of hard to sometimes work with. But I figured it out on this one. It says nest. An emotionally secure, loving family is important to you. It works so well in all types of readings. So what I do is I take it by sections and I just overhand shuffle it, and whatever card jumps is the card that we work with. So I don't think I did a deck. I didn't do a deck unboxing or flip through, so sorry about that. I feel like you all can find that on YouTube. Do a search and you'll be able to get a full flip through. Box. It says you will receive a gift. It's really good for those kind of readings too. If you are doing readings for the collective, or you're doing readings on social media platforms, you know, for people, donation-based or free readings, and you just want like, okay, I need a little like prophecy kind of reading. Not a prophecy, but you know what I mean? Like, for example, this one says, you will receive a gift. Okay, so that's a message you could give to those who are watching your readings. And then it has these astral house cards. I just mixed them all together. We have happiness. It also has month cards, this purple month of the year. That's helpful with timing. This is May. But I just take small sections and I overhand shuffle, and whatever card jumps is the one that I use. We have Lily, spiritual love. And that's what I do. For some reason, it works really well with my jumping style of reading the cards. Spear. Heartache over what you no longer have. Yeah. So it is a round deck I actually appreciate. And it started out that I got this deck because I was like, oh, I'm going to do these pick-a-piles. Didn't end up really sticking to that. Tried it. Thought I'd like it. I do like it. But it was a lot more work than I thought it would be. And it's like, I'm going to stick to my Maritime Mysteries and Mystery Mystic readings. Those make me happy. It's like those, not that the situations make me happy, but doing those deep dive kind of readings make me feel fulfilled in my reading practice. Not that pick-a-piles are bad or not fulfilling. They are. You can go really deep with them. You really can. And for all sorts of topics, it's just not going to be something that's going to be a mainstay on the channel, I decided. Misunderstanding for wall. Great Wall of China, it looks like. So yeah, maybe I'll change my mind in the future. You all let me know if you think I should do pick-a-piles. I tried it, like I said, it's not really my jam. So then when you get this box, and I was like, okay, US Games. And then it comes with this guidebook. So you have a guidebook, and that's cool. You can go even more in depth here. and I like that, but I never consulted. There's different ways to work with the tea leaf oracle, and I may keep this, now that I see it here, I may keep it out and just peruse it and read it. It even gives a guide on tea leaf cup readings. You know, I once had someone do a tea leaf cup reading for myself. Never really been drawn to this type of divination, but I'm fascinated when I see other people do it. It's just not something I'm called to do. But yeah, I thought that was, you know, it's interesting. It's an interesting guidebook. So I may keep it out of the box, read and peruse it this week since I got it out. It had also like a organza, a large little organza yellow bag that could hold the cards. I used it for something else. I forgot. But this one surprised me, and it's number 1. Why? Why? Because I used it month over month. I keep it on my reading table, off to the corner. I use it for all types of readings. It surprised me. I got it for one purpose and ended up using it for a variety of other readings, including my mystery mystic readings. And it was just like, surprised me in a very pleasant way. And now I see why people always have it. Like, that was another reason. I watched quite a few pick-a-pile readings to see if it was something I wanted to do before I did a couple myself. And a lot of times people use this deck. So I said, okay, well, let me get it. It's mass market, why not? And boy, oh boy, it ended up being quite a gem of a deck. Yes, it is. And yeah, there you have it, friends. That is my top 10. My top 10 Oracle decks for 2025. Oh my gosh, number 1. That's it. My top 10 Oracle decks for 2025 that I was loving on, using, surprised me, all the things. And I love sharing this year over year with you all. And I want to hear from you. What Oracle decks were you drawn to that you couldn't put down, that surprised you? And also share in the ways in which you work with the decks, because I think that is also just as important and helpful to those of us who are considering getting new decks, or maybe they have the same decks as you do and they want to find a new way of working with it, right? So we can teach one another and share with one another. And I can't wait to hear from you. This is my favorite time of year because a lot of us do these types of videos to celebrate the decks that really spoke to us. So share away, friends, share away. Do me a favor on your way out. Please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. You all have a wonderful rest of your day. Take good care of yourselves. Bye for now.